Like I stated in the running back video, there is no Jonathan this week. We'll see if he's here for the start sits. Obviously, he's out of town, enjoying a Monday night game with the Browns and the Steelers. So he is on reporting for that one, at least it seems like. We'll see what he has to say after that game here tonight. But other than that, let's go ahead and jump into our tight end rankings for week 3. And kicking us off here, you got number 1, Travis Kelce. Finally back. Not the best performance week 2. After missing week 1. But, again, that knee's not 100%. Let's be honest. It's not. He feels good enough to play on it, but he's not 100%. Let's see if that translates in the week 3, though. It's a good matchup, though, at home against the Bears, and we'll see what happens. Number 2 is going to be Mark Andrews versus the Colts, and a great matchup for him as well. In week 3, Mark Andrews coming back off that week 1 injury as well. However, week 2, he did perform a little bit what you expect for him coming off that injury, and I expect him to be even better in week 3 here against the Colts. Number 3 is going to be TJ Hockenson versus the Chargers. An amazing performance in Philadelphia for him on Thursday Night Football in week 2. I mean, there's a whole lot of explosive weapons there. I don't know if you can expect that every single week from him, but at least getting those type of targets I expect. And that's enough to get him a fantasy viable tight end spot. That's why he's going to be number 3, especially against the Chargers here at home against the Chargers in particular. Number 4 is going to be Evan Ingram versus the Texans. He's getting those targets after week 1, kind of faded off a little bit. And then boom, week 1 at the end, he got a couple targets. Then week 2, you see him get those targets even more and more and more. And that's going to be a thing here going against the Texans. He's going to be number 4 on the rankings. It's a good matchup. Texans struggle against the tight end so far this year, and I can see that continuing here in week 3. Number 5 is going to be George Kittle versus the Giants. A great matchup here for Kittle to finally show some fantasy relevance. It's kind of been all Brandon Ayuk against Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey. Now let's see if we can get Kittle in the mix there, because we want Kittle to be back to fantasy relevant. It's kind of easy for you to say when there's not a whole lot of tight ends that could be fantasy relevant, but there's actually a couple sneaky ones, and that's why Kittle's number 5. Speaking of sneaky ones, here's one that's really sneaky. Number 6, Hunter Henry at the Jets. Jets defense struggled against the Cowboys, and Hunter Henry just continues to get targets from Mac Jones. Definitely seems that way going into week 3. It should continue, especially in MetLife Stadium. I expect this to be a good matchup. The Jets and Patriots always seem to have good matchups, so expect that to continue week 3. Hayden Hurst is going to be number 7 for us at Seattle. Hayden Hurst is actually playing as of right now. It is Monday night. They play at 7:15, and we're getting close to the Browns-Steelers game. So Hayden Hurst right now is going to be number 7. He's been the main guy for Bryce Young, and I can see that being a big factor in week 3, seeing that Seattle's pass rush is going to be able to get to Bryce Young. I expect quick dump-offs and a lot of quick ones to Hayden Hurst. Number 8 is going to be Dallas Goedert versus the Buccaneers. He's at Tampa Bay, but he's been getting usage as well. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith has been the main guy. A.J. Brown's kind of been, it seems like, sharing those split targets with Goddard. It definitely seems that way because A.J. Brown's kind of been more of an afterthought. And Dallas Goedert's going to be one of those guys that's going to continue to get targets. The Eagles love using their tight end, and that's going to be a continuing trend here in week 3. Darren Waller at the 49ers. This is going to be a game where I think the Giants are going to be behind a lot. You're going to see a lot of targets to Waller from Jones, especially dump-offs. That 49ers pass rush is no joke, similar to like what I just saw with the Eagles, with the Seahawks-Panthers game with Hayden Hurst. Darren Waller is going to be getting a lot of targets, I would assume, in this game, and that's why he's going to be number 9. Number 10 is going to be Tyler Higbee at the Bengals. Between Puka, Tutu, and now you got Kyron Williams is actually getting involved a lot, too, in the passing game with Cam Akers being a healthy scratch last week. It seemed like Tyler Higbee, look out for him to get some targets against the Bengals. The Bengals are struggling against tight ends so far this year. So that's a trend I can continue seeing moving forward, especially against the Bengals. That's a good matchup for Tyler Higbee. Number 11 is going to be Dalton Schultz at the Jaguars. If it's not Nico Collins, it's definitely been Dalton Schultz so far on the targets. And at Jacksonville, I expect him to be playing from behind, which means that you're going to see a lot of throwing from C.J. Stroud, so expect Schultz to get those targets. And he might not get a lot of yards, but those catches mean a lot, especially in PPR format. Number 12 is going to be Dawson Knox at the Commanders. It's kind of been him and Kincaid so far, but it seems like Knox has been the better guy for the Buffalo Bills in their tight end room. It just seems like Dawson Knox is going to be the one moving forward unless something happens where you might be able to move a trade and get some value. Then you might see Kincaid, but as of right now, Dawson Knox is going to be number 12. Number 13, Sam Laporta versus the Falcons. Now, this is going to be a big move here. Laporta's number 13 right now. He could be moved up in the top 6. In my opinion, I don't know what Jonathan would say about it. I just know for me, Sam Laporta at home against the Falcons, if St. Brown does not play, go back and watch the wide receiver rankings and look for the start sits. Josh Reynolds is going to be a major factor in that game, and the second highest targeted guy is probably going to be Sam Laporta. The dude has been really good as a rookie so far, and he comes from Iowa, and Iowa knows how to produce tight ends. That's a fact. Number 14 is going to be Kyle Pitts at the Lions. Kyle Pitts has been a little bit more of a disappointment so far this season. Let's see if he can bounce back. It seemed like Drake London was going to be a disappointment after week 1. Week 2, a bounce back game. Let's see if it just takes 2 weeks to get Kyle Pitts involved here, especially against the Lions. And then number 15 is going to be Cole Kmet at the Chiefs. Not the best matchup for Cole Kmet, but it seems like Darnell Mooney is going to be out, it looks like so far. He did have an injury in week 2. Now, if Darnell Mooney's out, it seems like it's going to be DJ Moore. Cole Kmet will be probably the secondary target, and then Chase Claypool. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll factor that in with our start sets here that we'll be releasing in a couple days. But other than that, that's going to be it for the tight end rankings. Not a whole lot going on right now with the stat-wise for them. I mean, they had some good games, but nothing to really 100% point out. But again, make sure you like, subscribe, and go ahead and hit that notification button to get some notifications when the videos drop. This way you're not missing any information, especially on Thursdays when we do our start sits, because that's when football starts for the week. So other than that, you guys take care. Best of luck on your fantasy football, and we'll see you next week.